Come on in and join us. We're in the garden today, and we are going to be learning about farming and growing vegetables and healthy food. We have a wonderful guest, so I am just going to introduce him right now. Well, wait a second. No, I'm not. I want to tell you this about him, that he has done so much that an introduction and a one-time show will not do him justice. He's got knowledge, he's traveled the world, he's done so much, but we are going to learn a little about him today. So I will introduce him right now. John Musser.
Thank you, April.
Hi.
So good to be with you today.
Nice to see you. Yeah, I am thrilled that you're here.
We've been looking forward to this for quite a while.
I am really happy. I am really happy. And I want to also tell the folks, I'm going to look in the camera, I'm going to tell you that since we can't do it all in one show, he is going to have his own segment every week, a weekly segment, and it's going to be called In the Garden with Farmer John. I am really excited about that.
I am really pumped up. I tell you what, I am thrilled.
I am thrilled too.
I'm so glad this is our first time, our blast off, and so I'm ready to go.
Yes, and right away I want to go to this because I saw your flyer.
Yes.
I have a flyer here. And what I just learned not too long ago was that this is your 35th anniversary in ministry.
Yes.
And your ministry is Gospel Revival Ministries.
That's correct.
That is really special. And not only that, special because it's also your 37th wedding anniversary.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, where is Teresa? Is she around?
Well, Teresa, yeah, she's over there.
There she is.
Yeah, and she's smiling and over there praying and encouraging us.
Well, we'll see her a little bit later, I'm sure.
I'll tell you the story.
On the different
I know
shows.
that everybody wants to hear the story one of these days of how we met in Bible school and all those things like that.
Yes.
We'll wait for that later on.
Yeah, unless you can tell it in 2 sentences.
Well, I can say that she was the secretary in the alumni office.
Oh.
And so we've been ministering together for 38 full-time years.
Wow.
And then we got married, and we've been married for 37. Then we went into full-time Gospel Revival Ministries June 35 years ago. So we're excited.
And you're a special couple. I do know that.
Thank you.
I do know that.
Thank you.
And I highlighted a couple things on your flyer, as a matter of fact, that I really liked. This is from you. First of all, you say, I have learned that when a man or woman is called, gifted, and empowered to do a specific work, which you do, a very specific work, and when people learn all you do and all you've done, you're going to have so many people wanting to hear from you and learn more about it, as we'll get into. You said nothing can stop them until their job is finished on earth.
Yes.
After all these years, I have learned that no one can fulfill your vision, because we each have a vision and a purpose to fulfill.
Yes. I remember when I was 22 years old, I prayed, Lord, I want to do all that you've ordained me to do before the foundation of the world, nothing more, nothing less.
Yes.
And I prayed that through the decades, that same prayer.
Hallelujah.
And I've come to learn that.
Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. One more thing on here. You said that you supported and encouraged tribal development, church planting, gospel crusades, and ended the year with setting captives free from slavery. Now, I really do want to hear a little bit about that.
Yeah, through the years, and we'll tell the story about how we started out in revival work. We had 8-day meetings, open-ended. And also I did school lectures and seminars all across America and Canada for 15 years, my deadly experience with drugs. I came out of a hippie life. Teresa came out of a life where she'd never smoked, never drank, never hung around with folks that do. Our lives were opposite when we met right in Bible school. And I was totally transformed, radically saved, like Carmen sings,
Yeah.
And so we went right into revivalism. And then in 1985, we can tell that story in more detail later on. We were the humble human instruments, a revival that broke out in the sandhills of northern Nebraska. And it went on for 4 years. Moved into Kansas, moved into parts of Missouri. We called it the Ranchers Revival. And these people began to send my videos, books, and a book was written on the revival to their missionary friends. We started getting letters from third world countries. And then we began to send books on revival and gospel books, and evolved into working with native leaders.
Wow.
Focusing in on a native pastor, minister. And we were among the first ministry in America. There was a handful of us that just focused in on equipping Native leaders to reach their nations for Christ.
That is exciting. I mean, that's a good work. How many people are really doing that?
There's a few that I know of right now that really focus in on it full time. We still are mobilizing small armies of Native workers. But this way you can increase yourself 1,000 times. Some of our Native missionaries, we pay $50 to $75 a month. Literally, they have their hands on nations, and they are reaching unreached people groups. And so maybe we can do a story about that another time.
Right.
Because we've worked with all kinds of savage tribes, headhunters.
And I know you have pictures and videos of all that
yes,
stuff, and
yes.
we'll be showing all that. We'll be showing all that. How did you get into farming in the first place? I mean, did you always enjoy it? Even as a child, did you like growing vegetables?
Yeah, from reaching headhunters and savage tribes to the garden. That's a good story. We ought to write a book on that. Yeah, when I was a little kid, I remember winning some chickens at the farm, 10 of them. And I just watched them grow, and one day my dad shot every one of them. And it broke my heart. All my life, I wanted to farm. My wife's grandfather was an incredible farmer. And all these years, working in the ministry, gospel revival ministries, traveling abroad, we never had any time until we moved to Texas about 13 years ago. And we wanted to start a program, which we did. We called it ANASOM, All Nations Advanced School of Missions. Worked with a lot of Christ for the Nations students and DBU and other colleges. And about a quarter of the way in, we started a garden program called the Cycle of Life Farm. It was an instant hit to the point where leaders from these colleges said, "What are you doing to our children?" They're talking in the hallways, they're discussing about of course we had a little church group with these kids too, and they called it the Fish Church. You know, it's symbolically Christianity, but we also raised tilapia fish and things like that. But all the third world country people that came from Christ for the Nations and other colleges came to us and just said, "We're so thankful that you're doing this, because we've got to go back to our poor village. We got to go back to our country. And we have all the theology and all the doctrine, but we don't know how to bring food back to our village."
That's amazing. That is amazing. And I know you've done so much, and we'll be talking about that later. Tell us about how you got started. What made you think about eating better?
Well, I went 2 weeks without sugar, and then I started reading some books, and I decided I would rather eat healthy and just change everything that I'm doing. And so instead of eating to live, I'm living to eat.
And it's not only growing gardens like you see behind us. This is a stacking garden system, our raised bed, our 1/10 acre that we'll be talking about, which brought over 57 countries from around the world to see it. And not only do we grow crops, but how to dehydrate them, how to can them, and how to make, we have a survival soup. Everybody wants this recipe. Everybody wants it.
Words are power in action, and the most powerful tool that you have. Your tongue determines your destiny clearly reveals that life and death are in the power of the tongue. What we speak affects every area of our lives, physically, mentally, financially, spiritually, and our relationships. Your tongue determines your destiny will help you change a negative life into a positive, prosperous, healthy one. God spoke the moon and the stars into place and gave you the same power and authority to speak it, believe it, and receive it. Your body is a power plant. Your mouth is the switch. Your tongue does determine your destiny. Start fulfilling your destiny today. Your Tongue Determines Your Destiny is available online or order from your favorite bookstore. Also available at abelshenandoah.com.
I have a friend who recently started eating well. She really got a hold of the idea, and now she's doing something about it. Her name's Pat. Hi, Pat.
Hi, April.
Tell us about how you got started. What made you think about eating better?
Well, I went 2 weeks without sugar, and then I started reading some books, and I decided I would rather eat healthy and just change everything that I'm doing. And so instead of eating to live, I'm living to eat.
Living to eat instead of eating to live. Yes, I like that. I like that a lot. And I know that you cooked a wonderful dinner for me the other night, and you said it was your first time doing veggies this way. You never cooked spaghetti squash, I think it is.
Yes.
So it was delicious. And I want you to share with the folks about spaghetti squash, because a lot of people don't understand that you can actually exchange it for pastas, like the spaghetti and all that. So tell us.
Okay, well, I took a squash, and I'd never cooked one before, but you cut it in half and you put it face down in the oven and cook slowly for about 2 hours until it's tender. And then you just take a fork and it comes out like spaghetti. That's why they call it a spaghetti squash. And so you can use it in place of pasta, rice, whatever. And then I sauteed some onions and garlic and mushrooms. And just, I think zucchini and tomatoes and just put that on top of the squash, and I was surprised. It was so good.
It was delicious. I'm telling you, it was delicious.
I had you and one other guest, and I thought, okay, I'm going to try this on them and see, but everybody ate the last bite.
The very last bite. That's right. Now, right behind us, we have these wonderful green veggies, lettuces and onions and all these things. Are you going to eat a lot of raw food as well?
Definitely. Raw is very important.
Yes, I tell everybody, think salads. And you don't have to eat everything cooked, because once you cook things, you lose a lot of the nutrition in it. And the enzymes, that's what it is, the enzymes, yes. So do you have a new dish that you're going to try and I can taste maybe?
Oh, yes. I'm thinking of some new ones, yes. I'd made a pot of lentil soup before I left tonight. So, yeah, every day I'm going to be doing a new dish.
Wonderful. She shared lentil soup. I make lentil soups too, especially in the wintertime. I just love lentil soup. Just throw in a celery, onions, carrots.
Garlic?
Yes, just throw in anything in your lentils, and it cooks quickly and it's delicious. Now, from time to time, we're going to do these little segments and tell you about health and give you tips, and look for it on Kairos Time, because we're going to be there for you. We'll all grow together. We'll grow healthy together. And I'd like you to do some of these segments with me. Would you do that?
I'd be delighted.
Oh, good. I look forward to that. I have a thing about people being ill, and it's just frustrating when we know that we have family and friends that won't listen to us, right? I bet a lot of you are in the same position. So listen, look at this. Greens, you need carrots, you need beets, you need celery. You need all these good things because we need vitamins and nutrients in the body to build the immune system. Now, God created us, and He breathed the breath of life into us, and He gave us this good food. So I think it's good if we would honor Him by taking care of our bodies. That's how I look at it. So I am telling you, the next time you come into a grocery store, this is what I'm telling you to do. Just do it for me. Do it for yourself. Instead of going and traveling down that middle aisle where all the donuts and the sodas and all the cookies and all that stuff is, come to the vegetable section first. And just stand there and fall in love with vegetables, because you will never eat anything better. If you have sickness, if you have cancer, you cannot be eating junk, because sugars feed disease. I know that you're going to be teaching us about sustainable living and growing food, healthy food, and all that. I want to ask you about the word sustainable because I hear it even in politics.
Yes.
So could you explain a little
A
about
wonderful
that?
question, and different people have different interpretations of it. But many times when we were working with people, I would sign my name, yours, for pure food sustainability. Sustainability is, from my perspective, has to do with people gaining food wisdom. And it's not only growing gardens like you see behind us. This is a stacking garden system, our raised bed, our 1/10 acre that we'll be talking about, which brought over 57 countries from around the world to see it in eco tours. But not only do we grow crops, but how to dehydrate them, how to can them, and how to we have a survival soup. Everybody wants this recipe. Everybody wants it. Every time we have a program like this, radio, whatever it may be, and we make 15 different meals from that one soup that we can. It's a gourmet soup, but you can make spaghetti, you can make all kinds of goulashes and things like this. It's like a miracle because every meal tastes different. Well, that's sustainability. Being able to be food sustainable. And so what comes in the mix also is seed saving and using your seeds and getting more growth from the crops, getting more, let's say, not only growth and produce, but also getting more mileage out of a crop once you harvest it. And I took a dill plant that was large and we used it 5 different ways. And so that's kind of sustainability to us.
Yes, yes. And nowadays, people are so interested in this subject of all that you know to teach. So I can't wait till your segments start because I want to learn too.
I'm very excited. I'm very excited.
But so many people want to know how to grow gardens. And I don't mean just digging in the dirt and sticking seed in there. They need to know what you know, how to grow things quickly and fast.
Yes.
Because you have a system I know you've developed.
Absolutely.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Well, we've developed a number of systems, but through the years and all the tours we had in Dallas and then coming here to the Ozarks, we probably had, I don't know how many hundreds of people here in the Ozarks saying, how can I get started? I don't have a big backyard. And so that's why I developed the stacking system that we have behind us. But I propagated a lot here in these mountains, raised beds, small raised beds. And we've talked about how to make your own substrate, your growing medium. Instead of using dirt or they can't dig into the rocks and things like this, that's been very popular here and people have really been excited about it. But we could actually have a full program just on how to put this blend, this substrate, how to use it. And it enables us to use 50% less water, and we get double and triple yields from it when it's grown as we teach and train people.
And especially, like you mentioned, rocks and stuff. In certain areas, the soil is not good. It is rocky or it's clay. So I believe from what I've seen, you can actually have a garden on your patio.
Yes. Well, this is what we've done. We've tried to simplify it from the 1/10 acre to these 3 columns here actually is a 9 by 12 foot growing area, garden area. It doesn't look like it, but all these different spaces we have, that's food coming out of there. And so there's just a lot of people that don't have big spaces. And so I guess right now our major focus is growing food in small areas, even inside your house, window gardening.
I heard about there's somebody that had tomatoes, fresh tomatoes all winter.
Yeah.
Beefsteak tomatoes.
Yeah, we were part of that.
love.
We helped them get their window gardens together. Yeah.
How do you do that inside your house?
Well, you just make sure that you're on a southern side, you got plenty of light. But these particular stacking units right here, it's easy to do. It's just gaining that wisdom. With every gardening system, it requires little insights, doing things a little bit differently. But that's what this program is all about. And that's why we're starting all this.
Right.
For people that are asking questions, we can begin to share with them.
No, you don't put these in your house, though. These.
Yes, yeah, we
stacking
have a
units you put in the
stacking unit.
house?
You'll see later on. It's a 3-column one that we grew most of it. You'll see right inside of our house, and then we took it outside when the summer months came along.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. And I know This is a special one because you have even a special way of watering it. It
Yes.
kind of waters
Yep.
itself, but you
Yeah,
can,
we just water this right from the top, and it just waters inside all the way down. But, you know, we want people to know that it's not complicated. It's not impossible. They can start somewhere. And today I wrote a little article. Find a mentor that has a history of success. There's so many people on the internet, you know, wannabes, and they just have never really grown food and preserved it. And as we talk about in our programs, find a person who has a history of success and they're passionate about their calling, and be willing to follow them for a period of time.
and that's in any field. I always tell people, younger people, find a mentor. If they want to have a certain career, find somebody that's already successful, and maybe they'll take you under their wing. That's so important.
Yes.
But most people don't think about that.
You know, and then we don't want to pay for their books or their webinars or their trainings or whatever it may be. When I started out, I picked 3 of the greatest mentors in the world on gardening. One was on square foot gardening, and then after a number of years of learning his system, I developed my own completely different system with a major ingredient now that's gone over to 110 countries of the world. The second person was also an expert, and they taught on backyard gardening, and then we learned from them, and then we perfected our system. And so all this is a science. The third one, growing tilapia fish, I actually was taught by the man who put tilapia at Epcot Center when it first started, and was trained by him. And then I learned from him and began to develop my own ways. But I started out with good mentors, good trainers.
Yes, that's important. Well, we have a few minutes left, and you know, I want to hear about your ranch or your farm in Texas, because I know you have a place there still, and I want to know more about that.
Well, the place now is being leased to veterans, disabled veterans. And so really we don't have our program there, and we're starting all over again here in the Ozarks, okay? But our farm went on for many years. We started almost 12 years ago. And then we had our student ministry program, as I shared with you. But when we began to develop 1/10 of an acre, and this is what amazed so many people, that we could grow so many crops in just 1/10 of an acre. It's the way we laid it out, and we had vertical grown gardens, and then we had our special substrate mixes and compost teas that we developed through the years. And so we drew a lot of attention. We had Texas A&M actually studying our farm, some of the largest universities in Dallas. Before we left, schools, colleges we were working with, and we just loved every minute of it. It was a wonderful, wonderful journey. But people today want to know how to grow a lot of food in a small place. And we taught edible landscaping, where people would take some of their flowers away and put some garlics in there and onions and lettuce. In fact, my wife got so spoiled from that, she didn't want to go to the 1/10 acre because we had so many onions and lettuce growing right around the house. It's amazing what you can do if you think out of the box. And one person from Texas A&M called us, and she was over 20 areas in the Rio Grande Valley. And she said, "John, you are a rebel." I said, "Why would you say that?" She says, "Because we got to follow the books. But you're so out of the box, but you're successful. Now we want to learn from you."
It's good to be out of the box.
Yes, it is.
And I always say, don't put God in a box.
That's right.
And I know we'll hear more about your ministry, because I was going to ask you about evangelism.
Yes.
Which maybe in one of your segments you will talk a little
would love
bit
to do
about that. Just give the definition of eco-evangelism.
To me, because we had this college program, also we began to offer classes in the community in Dallas. Hundreds of unsaved people came. After the presentations, they would say, "John, we know that you and Teresa are Christians and love Jesus. We see the posters. We want to know more. And thank you so much for what you're doing." So food wisdom, growing these crops, was drawing all these different types of people. And we learned that it can now open any door in the world. It's powerful in missions, and governments want to know people that can grow crops.
Yeah.
It's like the nurses that used to go into third world countries. Now if we go in and teach people how to grow crops, they'll open the doors.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And I can't wait to see what you're going to teach us in the future. Thank you so much for being here at your own deck and your own garden.
It's good to be
Thank you for having me here.
Thank you for coming.
All
Yes.
right. All right.
Your words are a powerful force in the universe and can give you a life of peace or unrest, abundance or poverty, health or sickness. The words you speak today will be the life you live tomorrow. Author and minister April Shenandoah takes you through real-life experiences in Your Tongue Determines Your Destiny. As she learned about the power of the spoken word, she teaches how to speak it, believe it, and receive it. You will learn how ignorance, rebellion, and lack of God's knowledge will hold you back from receiving and progressing in life. Receive supernaturally. Say what you want and expect it. Learn how you can create your destiny by the words that you speak. Start fulfilling your destiny today. Your Tongue Determines Your Destiny is available online or order from your favorite bookstore. Also available at aprilshenandoah.com.